How much fun is Kevin Leman? Our crew colorfully anticipated his being with us today. Now, we don't have the Hawaiian shirt depicted here, which is quite typical, but you haven't lost it, Dr. Leman.
No, it's either a sweater or a Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah, or, excuse me.
And the socks.
The socks, come on.
Yeah.
Come on, this is a man of color and fun. And something else I have anticipated, I want to say for decades, is a look at your family that you talk about, you write about.
And you've never seen their picture.
Since the early 90s,
Yeah.
we've been getting together.
Oh gosh,
Finally,
look at that one.
we see, look at this beautiful, introduce us please.
Well, Mrs. Uppington there is on the far right.
That would be Sandy.
Yes, Sandy. I call her Mrs. Uppington because she's the classy one of the group. And little Connor there that is in front of me is now wearing size 10 shoes.
No.
Yeah, and he is 10 years of age and growing up, maturing already. So it's a great family. They love each other. They support each other and everything.
4 girls.
I'm blessed to have them. 4 girls.
One son. Your son has his hand on your shoulder.
Yes, yeah, and then
Gets Kevin Leman.
yeah, the second.
the second.
And then our youngest is way in the back. That's Lauren. And Lauren is, well, she won an $80,000 scholarship. She's functionally the baby of the family, you know, in birth order, but she's an only child, personality-wise, loves detail, works for DreamWorks right now out in California. She's going to really do something in life. God has given her talent that's way beyond mine, I'll tell you.
And how recent is that bride?
That bride is now 6 years married.
6
And her
years.
husband is going to medical school in Chicago this fall, so.
Hey,
We-
you've
we-
done good, Dad.
Yeah, you know, for a guy that graduated 4th and bottom of his class in high school, met his wife in the men's room of a hospital. I was a janitor, if you recall. God has blessed our life so many different ways.
You know what I loved in reading your latest book, and congratulations, by the way, #2 on Amazon under parenting, Be the Dad She Needs You to Be. I love the byline, the indelible imprint a father leaves on his daughter's life. Well, I was reading about a very special family event. It might have been your birthday. All of your daughters call themselves your favorite.
Oh, yeah. You know, I have a cell
They're
phone.
quite secure in that.
The cell phone says favorite daughter, and depending on who's at the house, they'll change the number. They'll put their number in. They all think they're the favorite.
That's so sweet.
And what people need to remember, dads especially, is, hey, dads, you represent Almighty God, okay, to your daughters. And there's nothing more special than the daddy-daughter relationship and the mother-son relationship. And so women are, how do I say this, Myra? They're weird. They speak a language that most of us as men don't understand. And so you can imagine a young girl growing up, you know, with whatever, or they're rolling their eyes. I mean, how do most of us as men handle those things? Not very well. Hey, you're not going to roll your eyes in this house. Hey, I'm telling you right now, you're going to do what I tell you to do. You know, with women, young women, you got to get behind their eyes, have fun, have fun. Oh, honey, roll those eyes again, only do it in slow motion. In other words, you know, fun. We do a cruise once a year. I do it with Luis Palau this year and Dennis Swanberg, who's the funniest guy known to mankind.
Boy, Louis Palau's looking really good.
Yeah, he's great. I love Luis, and I'm so glad to have him. But you know, when I'm in a church speaking, I was just out at Springs Church out there, Pastor Leon out in Winnipeg, and I tell church audiences, we'd love to have you come on the cruise. If you're a fun person, we'd love to have you. If you're not a fun person, we prefer you stay home. And I think what's missing in so many families today is fun.
Yeah.
And Dad, you can set the tone. Men use fewer words than you women. We're not as affectionate as you guys. We tend to just tell people where the bone's buried in life. But if you have daughters, gentlemen, you have to affirm her femininity and really walk her through these critical years.
Lots of compliments on her appearance. And
Yes, but see, the compliment is, honey, I got to tell you something. You really look nice. You take pride in how you dress. I just thought I'd share that with you. You don't look like some of those little slime balls down there at your school.
oh dear.
And I said that to one of my daughters one morning, little Hannah, and she whipped around. She said, Dad knows the term sleazeballs? I said, honey, I'm not blind. I see how kids dress.
She's less likely to look for that from another guy if she's getting the affirmation from Dad.
You know what? All the research, Moira, says this. An engaged dad puts a daughter on a positive trajectory. Take the dad out of the home, and trouble awaits in so many ways.
You say it's like leaving an ingredient out of your cake mix, you know,
Yeah.
as you're making a cake.
Yeah, what happens when you leave out a major ingredient? It falls flat. And so the grown woman who didn't have the kind of dad she needs, okay, is drawn toward people that are A, good for her or bad for her? Bad for her. So it's not rocket science.
I don't know how many people might have seen this. It's a delightful little quiet movie, A Walk in the Clouds. Really, you learn a lot about vineyards, growing grapes, making wine. And you highlight in the book the movie, but you also frame a term you've taught me, the critical-eyed parent.
Oh, yes.
Deadly.
You know, if you're the critical-eyed dad and you can spot a flaw, okay, now notice you might write computer programs for a living. You might be an architect, an engineer, an accountant. You get paid for being perfect, or an anesthesiologist, okay? Let me be clear. I want my anesthesiologist to be...
To be a perfectionist?
Yes. You know, I don't want him saying, oh, well, we're a few cc's off. Who cares? Night, night, Leman, forever. Hello. But if you're that critical-eyed, spirited parent, you'll turn that little firstborn daughter, who tends to be a little pleaser and achiever, into a procrastinator, into the person who's always going to hit a home run, not a finisher. And so that indelible imprint, Dad, that you leave on that daughter's life is left best if you understand what affection's all about. You're driving your daughter to school in the morning. She turns the radio on. Now, number one, you're not going to like the music, Dad. I'm going to tell you right now. But my suggestion when she turns on that terrible music, you know what my suggestion is, Moira?
What?
Honey, turn that up. What? Turn it up, honey.
Your nose might be growing.
Yeah, yeah, louder, louder. And you might ask your daughter, who's singing that? And trust me, you'll never know the group won't sound like a music group for sure. But my point is, you either get behind your daughter's eyes and partner with her in life, or she becomes a slam and clicker, which means she comes home from school, goes to her bedroom door, slams it shut, clicks it locked, and then she texts like a woodpecker that's got ADHD to all her buddies and shuts you right out of her life.
You give so much helpful stuff on how to connect with your kids. You've got a pop quiz. How well do you know your daughter?
Oh, yeah.
You walk us through learning how to connect, how to talk to your girl is another section.
But here's
you need that help.
But this is key. Now listen, pay attention. This is a good one.
You got me.
Don't ask your kids questions.
You mean don't pepper them, don't grill them.
Yeah, yeah. You know, the best thing to do as a dad to a daughter is say, honey, can I ask your opinion about something? Now, if you ask your opinion, what are you saying?
It's open-ended. She's going to, you want to hear from her.
And
You value her opinion.
See, and that's what we miss. And put away the Y word. Now, that's great advice, by the way, for any husband, any wife, okay? Husbands do not like to be interrogated. How was your day today, honey? What do most of us as men say? Fine. Which means what? I don't want to talk about my stupid day. And put away the Y word. We hate the Y word. Well, kids are the same way.
Here is a really, this may be an insight. The best gift you can give your daughter, you say,
honor and love
is
that wife.
making your wife number one in your eyes.
Oh, yeah. The kids are watching. They're taking spiritual notes to see if you add up with Sunday through the other days of the week, okay? You can fool adults, you can't fool kids. But you really have to honor this woman, okay? Speaking of women, when my daughter Chrissy got married, I was crying for 10 minutes in the men's room. My wife got up to tell everybody to get up, you know, the bride's coming, and my daughter is sitting there by herself without her father, because I'm in there crying my eyes out, blowing my nose like a foghorn. So finally I come out, Myra, and I'm like a robot, okay? And I'm walking down the aisle, and I can still remember only noticing one person that I was in a zone. And this guy comes out, this pastor, John, he says, who giveth this woman? He called my daughter a woman. She's a little girl. She's 22 years old, a little girl. And so he says, who giveth this woman to the tender care and love of dentist? You know what I said? I said, and I went like this. I gave him a timeout sign. I was supposed to say, she gives herself with our blessing or something. Well, that's not what came out. I left my daughter's side. I went in my son-in-law's face, and I said, I ain't giving her to you until I hear it from your lips that you're going to listen to her, love her, honor her. You know, I gave him Ephesians 5 revisited.
Did everybody hear this?
Yes.
Wow. Is it on video?
Yes, and I turned around. I knew I made a fool of myself. I said, Pastor John, you better ask that question again. And I mumbled something and continued to cry. But the best part was afterward. All these young daddies were coming up to me with tears in their eyes. Dr. Leman, giving me fist bumps. My daughter's only 4.5, but I'm with you all the way.
My day is coming.
Yeah, so the specialness of a daddy-daughter, don't miss the opportunity, men. I mean, when she starts to grow up before your eyes, what do most men say? Moira, maybe you gotta have a little talk there with a daughter. She's beginning to, sort of fill out there on top. No, gentlemen, if someone should talk to your daughter, it's you about life, relationships, sex, remaining pure. Dad, daughter, mother, son.
We are out of time, but I just want our viewers to know.
I just got started.
I know. 2 musts for divorced dads.
Oh.
We're dealing with a lot of broken families. They are not excluded in your book.
No, and I think I've given a good help. Number 1, don't rag on your mate, your former mate. Okay, that is going to turn things sour. Number 2, be available and accessible.
Yeah.
It's difficult these days, but realize that the name calling and the fighting that goes on that precipitated the divorce cannot continue. You have to extend that olive branch.
And go that extra mile for your ex. It's just
Sure
the
do.
right thing to do. Oh, Dr. Leman, thank you. You said you'd be back with this, and it is at our e-store. Be the dad she needs you to be. Guess what? In time for Father's Day, if you're in touch with us ASAP.